What's up, NBK fam? It's Andy. I'm happy you guys are joining me here on a Friday afternoon. You probably have, better things to do, but since you're here, I got a topic on the Eurobasket group phase, kind of a report, because I bet that most of you guys don't watch the Eurobasket. I have a better chance because the games are at a better time than you guys could pick it up. The games would start probably in the mornings in the states, so that's worse for you guys. But I sincerely encourage you guys on watching at least a couple of games because these games are really on a high level of basketball. So before we gather people in the chat, I got a short story that happened to me before the Eurobasket. I went to a game between Croatia and Poland. It was a preliminary game for the 2023 World Cup or something like that. It was. I was thinking that I was going for a scrimmage because listen, the tickets were like $8, so I paid more for the gas because I had to drive from my city to Warsaw. It's like 205 miles, something like that. So I didn't expect much as far as the organization of the game, right? Tickets for $8. So what can you expect, right? So I come to the end to the game like 2 hours before because I'm a diehard. I want to see the warm-ups. I want to see if the coaches do certain stuff in practice before the game and stuff like that. So I arrive at the game in Warsaw 2.5 hours before. The parking lot is literally full. It was like 2 or 3 spots. So I park the car. We go with two friends. Grab something to eat, and at that time there was nothing around the place that the game was going to be played saying that there's an international basketball game that's going to be on like in 2 hours. Literally nothing. We go to grab something to eat. We come back like after 40 minutes, maybe an hour, and the guys are just starting to pump the balloons, the gates, the all advertisements, and stuff like that. And I was like, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if the gym is going to be like half, full only because there were literally no advertisements that the game is going to go down there, right? And let me just say that Croatia came to play that game with what four NBA players, um, four NBA players, probably 2 or 3 more EuroLeague players. So for fans in Poland, that was a nice talent that you could see compared with what the Polish team has on their roster. So that's why actually I was thinking that it's worth to go to see that game. So as I said, at the beginning, organization wise, this game was terrible, literally terrible. You couldn't, only like one gate was open. The gym was like what, maybe 4,000 people. So it's not like a big court to play on, but still, I was thinking that it's going to be full, jam packed, and stuff like that. I would say it was like 3,500 people there. But like 2 hours before that, you have no advertisement set up, nothing, greeting the fans and stuff like that. I was a little bit upset. But at the end of the story, you guys gonna know why I was happy at the end. Because so we go to the game. We my friends grab a beer. I was driving the car, so I couldn't drink, but I was still having fun at the game. Poland actually was leading Croatia by like double digits at half, so that was a shocker for basically everyone. So the fans were great. The game was actually quite good. More defensive minded, like we play basketball here in Europe. But overall, it was a fun game. Fun game. Turned out that Croatia, actually won the game, but they took over the game like literally 5 minutes to go. And I remember Mario Hezonja was playing a terrible game throughout the three first quarters, and the coach subbed him in like in the 38th minute, which is like 2 minutes to go, because in Europe and FIBA games you play 40-minute games, 4 times 10 minutes a quarter. And I was surprised that he put him in, because he was shooting like 15% maybe from the field, and that was a shocker for me. But he drew up a play. Mario hit a three from the corner. Next play, they ran the exact same play, and he hit a three again. So he got the lead for Croatia. They won the game. So that was a little bit shocker, and a cold shower, how you say it in Poland here, if the tides change of the game. But that still wasn't the biggest part that I was surprised for. So after the game, of course, everybody goes home. Whoever drove with the car goes to the parking lot, hops into the car. And I'm going to tell you guys how the organization of this game was bad. I was sitting in the car. I barely moved out of my spot, and I was standing still in the car, literally. Like, I didn't move even an inch for like 30 minutes. And I was like, I turned off the engine. There was no police, guys to let, the cars out of the parking. It was only like one narrow exit. So in case of any kind of a fire or emergency, I don't know if you would even, you would have to leave the car there and just run for your life. But, there was a funny situation, because when we moved on like 2 or 3 cars, 2 or 3 spots, we were thinking that, listen, maybe we're going to just park the car and go grab something to eat before we hit the road, because it's like, that 200 miles, like what, 3 hours, 3.5 hours drive. So we were thinking maybe we should grab something to eat. But, we decided that we're going to sit it out in the car. And listen, we're sitting in the car, looking around, because there's nothing to talk about. We were chatting about the games a little bit, but more cursing out the organization of this game, that they couldn't even find like 2 police guys to unload the parking lot. Meanwhile, like, I don't know, maybe 6-7 feet away from my car, there's this big tall dude coming by, and I was like, yo, isn't that Hezonja? And my friends are like, oh, I don't know. But my friend in the back, he was a little bit tipsy by then, because he had a couple of beers before the game, a couple of beers at the game. So he scrolls down the window and he yells, yo, Mario, can we take a photo? And I was so shocked, because we literally had to leave the car at this at the middle of the road, from the parking lot, just to grab a photo with Hezonja, right? And we were like, maybe he's gonna just say okay and take the photo. So I just turned off the car, the ignition, and I ran to Hezonja, and the guys are like, "Oh, you speak the best English, so you talk to him, ask him a question, stuff like that." And I was like, "Nah, let's just take a photo." But I was surprised, because there were other players around. They like the parking lot was like from the behind door exit, right? And the organization of this game was so bad that the players exited by that door instead of going, from another side straight up to the bus. So, they came out, one of the guys from the Croatian team even had his cigarette there, and they were like, oh, can we take a photo with that guy too? Because, he's having a cigarette. So, he put it out and he said, sure. He smiled, stuff like that. So we took a photo with him. And, I had a, like maybe like 20-25 minute chat with Hezonja. I reminded him, that I told him that I'm a huge Knicks fan. I remember, that blog that he had on LeBron, that step over, the couple of plays he had, and he was shocked actually that a huge Knicks fan met him in Poland after a game, I remember also he had like a box of pizza, because like they ordered the pizza after the game. So that was funny for me, because professional guys, ordering and eating pizza after a game. But whoever, they probably thought, they can't get nothing better to eat here in Poland. So I wasn't surprised about that. But I had a really nice chat. I asked his only because he slipped at one point of the game, and he went out, and I was thinking maybe he like injured his calf or something like that. So I asked him about that. He said, "Nah, I'm fine. I'm going to be good." And then what, he had a phone call. Apparently his agent called, asking about the injury. He talked with him, so we went, looking for other players, to talk, because we were thinking, listen, we already had like couple of minutes to talk with Mario, so we were like, we didn't want to nag him, right? So we went to a guy, you guys probably don't know him. He plays in the EuroLeague, Simon. Great guy. He was so funny. He is 37 years old, but he was like a floor general for them. I remember they warmed up and he didn't play a minute in the first quarter because he was stretching like the whole fourth quarter, and we were joking with him, why didn't you play more minutes? And he said, listen, I'm old. And I'm like, yo, I'm 1 year older than you. And he was joking with us playing. He even gave us a slice of pizza. He was so down to earth as a person. Didn't try to be a mega star or whatever. So that was really, really cool. And listen, after Mario had that chat with his agent, we were thinking that we're going to wait for someone else. Maybe someone else is going to come out of this way, and we're going to take a photo. Meanwhile, Mario just wraps up the call, and he comes back to us and he starts to chat with us. So where we're from, where and stuff like that. I was like, I started to talk with him about vacation that I go to Croatia every year. So that was such a cool experience, meeting a guy that plays in the NBA on the other side of the globe, basically. That you would basically never think that that's going to be a thing, that's going to be even an occasion. So that was something surreal, and it was all thanks to, of course, the bad organization of the Polish national team game. Because if they went out of the right exit, they would just jump on the bus and probably drive to the hotel, right? So there was a hidden funny situation there. And after we were talking with Mario Hezonja for probably, then it was like 35 minutes, and the rest of the players came out, the Polish national team players, the Polish national team coach. So we nicely said to Mario, listen, Mario, we're just going to go talk to those guys. We don't want to be nagging you and stuff like that. And he also he said, cool, I'm going to just talk with my guys here. And it was a pleasant talk with him. Meanwhile, we took a photo with a couple of Polish national players. We talked to the coach. That was also he was also a guy that for a national team coach, he stood with us three guys that he never saw us before. We said it was a good game, was a close one. Maybe if this happened, maybe if that happened, and he stood with us and also talked for like 5 minutes. So we were pleasantly surprised. And the funniest thing, that even the Polish players didn't know which way to go to the bus. So I was by that time I was joking. I was like, listen, do you guys even know where you're going, or you're going to take your cars and go to the hotel or whatever? So that was hilarious. And when we decided that, listen, maybe it's time to go home, because like the couple of cars left the parking lot, so maybe it's going to move now. We saw Ivica Zubac from the Clippers, the center there. So we were like, and that was actually, there was at that exit that we were talking with Hezonja, there was no more than 10 fans. No more than 10 fans that were at that exit and had that chance to take a photo with these NBA players. So that was really, really, really hilarious, right? and Zubac comes out, and I was like, oh, just let's get a a photo and just run. But my friend is like, no, 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 ask him about Gortat, because the situation in the Clippers was that they waived Gortat, they paid him the money, and they signed Zubac instead of Gortat. So so I came up with an idea like on the fly. I was like, do you remember Marcin Gortat? And he says, no, who is it? I was like, what do you mean, who is it? He's like the best Polish player, but he ended his career in the NBA. And he's like, no, who was that? I was like, the center that they cut on the Clippers so they could sign you. And he was like, oh damn, man, I didn't remember that. But and Zubac says like, I guess he doesn't like the Clippers now. So that was so funny. And also Zubac, he wanted to sign us, some gear, some shirts, but of course, we weren't prepared. We didn't have even a marker so he could do that. So we went out without the autographs, but we have photos. I'm gonna show you guys, Hezonja, of course, on the left, and Zubac on the right. So it was really a fun experience for a couple of minutes, right? So yeah, and that was the warm-up thing. I hope people are already in the chat. People in the chat, I see not many people watching us, but it's Friday and it's only me alone, so I'm not expecting to have a huge crowd. Yeah, so going back to the main topic, which is the Eurobasket. I wanted to encourage you guys on watching a couple of these games, even if it's maybe highlights are not the best thing to watch, but these games are really, really competitive. Let me just tell you that and there was 32 teams, right? I think no, even 24 teams, sorry, 24 teams in this competition. There are 33 NBA players currently under contract that are playing in the Eurobasket. 19 players that were in the NBA but currently playing in the EuroLeague or in Europe somewhere. Over 20 drafted players, young guys that are stashed in Europe. And why I'm doing this even episode on Eurobasket, not only to encourage you guys on watching a couple of games, but the group phase just wrapped up, and now it's going to be a bracket phase, right? So whenever someone loses, he goes home. And on this point, I wanted to say to you guys, just compare the thing to American players. Just looking at the rosters of these teams, of France, of Serbia, of Slovenia, of Greece, the biggest stars play. It's not like the America Cup, where I bet you guys couldn't even name like 3 players from the US national team that plays in the American Cup now. I'm just gonna tell you guys that they lost one game that I followed, and they won at the buzzer beater versus Puerto Rico, the last game. So it's not like the best players in the States play. I actually knew like 3 names from the roster that played on that game. So I think, and I'm actually surprised, because for me, if I had an opportunity to play for my national team, I would do everything I could to not miss a game, because it's something like the pride and showing up for your country and stuff like that. So I don't understand why these guys, like, and I'm not calling LeBron, but there are way better players in the NBA than the guys that are representing the United States national team in the current American Cup. And I understand that maybe they think that they can win with like whatever players just versus the teams in America. But I think it's more of a pride thing, and it's not cool for me. I actually rather see great the best players in the country play and represent my country. So I'm surprised about that, and the American national team. Uh, what's more interesting here between the differences in the rules between NBA and FIBA? You guys probably know most of these things, but I'm just gonna throw it out. So the games are 40 minutes, not 48 minutes. You foul out after 5 personal fouls. And one thing that probably you guys didn't know, that international teams, probably US team can have the same thing. In FIBA competition, you can have one player that is I don't know if I'm going to use the right word. It's going to be naturalized, which means he's not born in the country, but he has the passport, the citizenship of the country. There's plenty of things that can lead to that. Listen, in European countries, if you're a great basketball player and the country doesn't have, for example, a great point guard, and you just tell them, like the national team organization, listen, I would love to play for your team. They're just gonna, get you a passport. You're just gonna apply after 6 or 8 months. You're gonna get a passport in Poland at least. So Polish team has a American point guard slash shooting guard, I should say, naturalized. But most of these European teams, even Turkey, even Slovenia, even Spain, if I'm correct, they have a naturalized American player that's playing for Team Spain and these national teams in Europe. So that's one of the more interesting stuff that you guys might have missed. One more interesting thing is the flagrant foul rule that actually the NBA is looking for, to implement. That's all those take fouls, however, Jeff Van Gundy calls them, and stuff like that. Those fouls that are basically not basketball plays. They are just fouls to stop the fast break. And in FIBA changed the rules, because that was a rule in FIBA which NBA followed with, and now FIBA changed it, and I see that NBA is looking to change it too. So the ruling on the floor now in FIBA games is and it doesn't matter if it's the beginning of the game, like the first play, last minutes, if they are just looking to break the possession. Whenever you are fouling a guy and not looking for a basketball play, that means to poke the ball away, to block the shot, it's 2 free throws and the ball from the side of the court. So that's a major difference. And if you guys would watch a couple of these games, you're going to see that NBA players, it's really hard to adjust for them, because they make that that take foul, and then they're like, oh man, I forgot. So they're really surprised that they're going to have to lose 2 free throws, and the ball is still going to be the opposite teams. So the only thing that I acknowledged watching these games, that it really stops the game flow. I think players think, okay, it's going to be just a foul. We're just going to set up the defense and we're going to play again. Meanwhile, it's 2 free throws. The ball again goes back to midcourt, and it actually makes the games a little bit longer. But you're definitely not going to be fouling if that's going to be the ruling on the court. I think NBA might do 1 free throw and then the ball from the side, because 2 free throws and ball, it's going to make these games longer. And we know how NBA is. They want to cut the games short, because the refs can go back and rewatch the last 2 minutes, the possessions that are controversy calls and stuff like that. So it's for some fans, it's going to be really annoying at the beginning, but at the end, when you think about it, I think it might be a good idea. Just looking at the NBA guys and the athleticism that is in the NBA, you would see more dunks, more fast break plays, and stuff like that. So I think it might be a change for the better, but it's definitely going to be adjusting period. at the beginning, because it's gonna be maddening for most of the NBA fans. So what? Going back to the Eurobasket competition, we have plenty of Nick accents here. Three current Knicks are playing: Fournier for Team France, Jokubaitis for Lithuania, and Ognjen Jaramas for Team Serbia. Each of the teams advanced to the bracket, phase. So you guys are going to be able to catch a game of those guys. I'm going to mention also names that were a Nick, or have some affiliation with the Knicks. I noted myself, once a Nick, always a Nick. And a couple of names noted here is Thanasis Antetokounmpo, Ignas Brazdeikis, which I'm just going to throw in. He plays a major role for Team Lithuania. I am shocked that they're playing him so much. Willie Hernan Gomez, Mario Hezonja, of course, Mindugas Kuzminskas, Shane Larkin. He plays for Team Turkey, if you guys didn't know. Kostas Papanikolaou. He was a Knicks pick like in 2015, maybe 14, a second rounder. So he stayed only in Europe. I think he played like maybe a half a season for the Rockets, but he was a Knicks pick, if I'm correct. And Vincent Poirier, the Frenchman that we traded from for someone, and we literally cut him a day or two after. So he changed his profile, his social media profile, that he's a Knick, and and we cut him. So that's plenty of Knicks accents if you think about it. So what? Let's slide to some results. I'm not gonna go game by game. I'm just gonna show you guys how these national teams were paired in groups, and tell you guys. And we're gonna just browse through the results of the groups. So in Group A, we had Spain, Turkey, Montenegro, Belgium, Bulgaria, and Georgia. This group was played in Georgia, Tbilisi. Georgia is a really small country, and when I think about it, it's kind of shocking that they got the opportunity to even host this kind of competition, because that country is really small, and I think they literally had like one city, probably one gym that was available for this kind of games. But also an interesting thing, before we go to the results, there was a situation in the Turkey and Georgia game where a player from Georgia got a little bit aggressive with Forkman Korkmaz from the 76ers. They literally started to fight, so they got thrown out of the game. And rumors are that some fans or security, whoever, went to the Turkish locker room, and there was an altercation with Forkman Korkmaz, and they had a fist fight there. So the national Turkey team said that they want to see footages from the from the surveillance cameras and stuff like that. If not, they're gonna leave the tournament. I'm not sure if they got the footages, but they're still in the tournament because they advanced further. So yeah, I wonder how that's gonna be solved. So as we see, Spain had four wins and 1 losses. I'm just gonna tell you guys that the plus minus points is in Europe they call it the small points difference. So they scored 63 more points than they won literally those 4 games by more than 63 points. So for every win you get 2 points, and from every loss you get 1 point. That's why these teams have 9, 8, 8, and 8. Meanwhile, they won only 3 games and lost 2 games. So this was the results and the standings from Group A. Just going forward, top 4 teams advanced to the bracket phase, and for example, the first team from Group A plays the number 4 team from Group B, and the number 2, 3 team from Group A plays the team number 3 from Group B. So and it goes like that between groups A and B, and C and D has the same pairings. So I think here I'm actually not surprised about the results. Listen, Montenegro and Belgium, it was like only one basket, and they could have swapped positions in the standings. But I think these teams actually don't have any kind of future in the bracket phase, because except Spain and Turkey. But I think Turkey plays. I think Turkey plays France, so I think they're going to lose too. Let's go to Group B. This was the best group in the Eurobasket. You got Slovenia with Luka Doncic, which is, after these games that I saw in the Eurobasket, for me, he is a clear-cut most talented player in the world now. Literally most talented. The things that he is doing in this Eurobasket, competition, it's not normal, guys. If you watch these games, these highlights, he can do everything. He's a magician on the court, literally a magician, and you can't say nothing more about him. He's like, if he would, keep his ego in his pocket and play more team ball, he would be the best player probably. I would be calling him probably the GOAT. He's so talented that I don't see anyone that I saw ever play basketball more talented than him. So we have Slovenia, at the first seed, Germany, and I think Germany is a surprise here. They got a couple of players from the NBA. Dennis Schroeder is the point guard. They got Franz Wagner at the 3. They got Daniel Theis at the 5. They got the 2 other guys filling the roster are still good players, but not NBA players. But they're built more of a team oriented basketball. They're really playing great offense and great defense, but it's not like one specific player. Dennis Schroeder sometimes try to carry the team, but most of the times it's basically a team game for them, and they win like that. What more? France, of course, with Evan Fournier as the leader, and several NBA players here. Rudy Gobert in the starting lineup with him, and tons of guys from the NBA. I think France actually has most of NBA players from any national team in Europe playing in the Eurobasket, and Lithuania with Rokas Jokubaitis. I'm not gonna lie, I watched every game of Lithuania because I was looking for the development of that Rokas can do and can make in this competition. But he had better games, but he also had games that I wasn't happy with. I'm not gonna say that they were bad games, but he had turnovers late in the game. He had sometimes disappointing plays, and maybe it's only me. Maybe you guys should go back and rewatch these games. If you guys want, I think the Polish national television, you can watch the games on their website for free. Rewatch the games, so you can go back, and rewatch the games fully. I think they have actually the whole tournament, so you guys can go back and watch. I'm just, if you guys gonna want the link, just DM me on Twitter at BlackerAndy. I'm gonna send you the link. It's probably gonna be a little bit hard because you're gonna guys have to go through the Polish language. But if you use that Google Translator, it's easily found, and I can send you straight to the link to a game if you pick one. So that's not going to be a case. But and Lithuania started the tournament with a record of 0-3. They lost. They had a tough schedule at the beginning, and actually France saved them, because if France would lose the game with Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is number 5th seed here, that would mean that Lithuania wouldn't make the bracket phase. So the Lithuanian fans were literally, like rioting the gym for France to win, and that's why Fournier even even said that Lithuanians fans are terrific, but they were cheering only for France because because if France would lose, Lithuania wouldn't make the other phase. The next standings from Group C, Greece with Giannis. This was a smooth roll for them. Ukraine at 2, and I think this is a surprise seeding for me. I was easily thinking that Croatia is going to be number 2, but sometimes it happens like that. I think that Croatia lost to Ukraine. That's why they are not, using the small points here in the standings. Croatia number 3 and Italy at number 4. I think Italy had a better chance, but Danilo Gallinari torn his ACL before the tournament, and they lost like 2 rotation players in the first or second game. I think those are minor injuries, but still injuries that didn't allow these guys to play. And it was bad timing for those injuries for Italy. But they have also a guy that's going to be playing in the NBA. I think he was signed for OKC, a really young guy. I hope you're going to remind his name, Fontecchio or something like that, if I'm correct. So he might show something in a team like OKC, young team with literally just tons of prospects. If he gets the playing time, it's going to be fun to watch that guy develop. And the last Group C, Serbia, with Nikola Jokic at the center position. They got a terrific roster there. Vasily Micic, he's a pick of OKC as well. He's going to stay in the EuroLeague, but that guy he could crack every NBA team's rotation. Top 8 player on every NBA team that he signs with. He's such a terrific player. MVP of the EuroLeague Final Four. Terrific player. If you guys, just Google him, YouTube him for his highlights. Vasily Micic, Serbia. Awesome player. So experienced that it's shocking for me that he's still not trying himself in the NBA, because if I would be him, and at his age, he's like 27, I think 26, 27. So this is like he's entering his prime. If I was him, I would literally, just try it, because I think he would make it easily in the NBA. And listen, this group was funny because I never was thinking that Poland is going to be number 3. I actually was thinking that Israel and the Czech Republic are going to make it. This group was playing in Prague and Czech Republic, right? So the Polish team was playing the first game with Czechs, and I was thinking that they're going to lose it for sure. They won that game, and the Czech Republic lost the second game, and I was surprised, because that meant that the Polish national team literally has to win only one more game to be at the 4 seed. So that was a surprise for me, because I was thinking that there's no chance they're gonna make the brackets, but then they made the brackets, and they're gonna play versus Ukraine, which actually they have a chance to win. So that would be if the Polish national team wins that game, they're gonna beat the top 8 team in Europe. So that's gonna be a shocker for me. Not to mention from this group, only Netherlands and Poland don't have a player in the NBA. Even Ukraine, they have Alex Len playing. Poland doesn't have any players in the NBA, because Jeremy Sohan is the only Polish player in the NBA, but he's playing for the Spurs. He just got drafted. The Spurs didn't allow him to play. The Netherlands don't have a player in the NBA. Israel, they have Deni Avdija. And on Deni Avdija, a note here for his fans, because I liked him too, but he has how do you say it? He's like a hothead. When I remember watching the game from Poland and Israel, it was so easy to make Avdija mad, and then he played really bad basketball. That it was shocking for me that he, as an NBA player, lost it so many times in so many games, and that's the result of the Israel national team. I think you can blame it easily on him. He played only well in one game, if I'm correct. The rest 4 games, he played really bad. And that's not good for a young NBA player. That's that the national team is trying to build around you. I think they were expecting way more from him, and that didn't pan out. So that's bad for Danny. Just to add on this, group phase and how hard it is, because we heard reports, Fournier, Luka. I think I'm not sure if Giannis said that it was hard to play these games, but it's hard to play these games for several things. First thing is that it's only four games in the group, 5 games in the group phase, and then it's the bracket challenge. So if you lose like 2-3 games like Lithuania did, they're lucky that they were playing in a weak group, and like in the group that another team's result let them to play in the brackets. But in other group situations, they could have been out of the tournament at this point. But the other thing is that the scheduling of this group phase was insane. They played 4 games in 5 nights, and some teams, for example, played games starting at 9 p.m. and the next day they played like in the afternoon. It was like 2 p.m. So they didn't have even like 18 hours of recovery time. And that, for that thing, I think that's why the players were a little bit upset at FIBA, because it could easily be spread out a little bit more, so you could see better basketball. Meanwhile, if a team like Serbia, they were playing the last game with Poland, but they were sure that they're going to have the first place. They didn't sit from the first minute, but for example, Jokic played like 20 couple of minutes. Meanwhile, the other games he was playing 30 couple of minutes. So I think that's going to be fixed in probably the next tournament that FIBA organizes, and stuff like that. On the organization of FIBA tournaments also, and the qualifiers for the World Cup, for the Eurobaskets, and for the rest of the FIBA competition, what's worth noticing here is that NBA and FIBA don't agree on the schedules here. Saying that, I mean that FIBA schedules their national team games windows, for example, late November and early February. Meanwhile, the NBA has their season there, right? So teams like Poland, they don't have that problem, because they don't have any player in the NBA. But for example, teams like even Serbia, right? They got Jokic, so they got to play the qualifying games without Jokic. Like team like Croatia, they got Bogdanovic, Saric, Zubac, Hezonja when he was playing in the NBA. That cuts like literally 4 best players of your squad, and then you try to build around that. So I think that also is a thing that could be fixed, because some teams barely qualify for the World Cups, because most of the windows, NBA players can't just take a flight just to play a game or 2 on a weekend and go back to the NBA, because the NBA teams and contracts won't allow them to do that. So it might be a tricky situation here. But I don't think they're going to fix it. I don't think there's any way that the NBA says like, listen, we're going to have a 1 week break late November after like 1.5 months, so players can go and play for their countries. So I think that's not going to be the case. And then further going forward with that, it might be a problem that some of the best teams don't make it, for example, qualifying from Europe, because their best players don't play in those qualifying windows. and the only window that they can play is in the summer. And some players rather rest than just come for that one window for those couple of games. But to wrap this up, this episode, we can look at the bracket for the Eurobasket round of 16, how they call it here. So Germany is going to face Montenegro, and the winner is going to play the winner of Greece versus the Czech Republic. For me, I think I'm going to pick Germany and, of course, Greece. And then Greece is going to advance further because I don't see, Germany having any chances to stop Giannis. I think he's unstoppable versus a team like Germany. There are only like maybe 2-3 teams that can stop him, but I don't see, any way that Germany has the power under the rim to stop Giannis. And the other pairing, we have Spain and Lithuania. And this is going to be a really interesting game because Spain's roster is really, how would I say it? They didn't call up the vets here. They're trying to make a rebuild and go young. And I think it's going to be an adjustment period. Everybody, whenever played, in the international games, Spain, they were literally the second best team in the world. Meanwhile, nowadays with this younger roster, I think that they could even lose to Lithuania, which had a really bad group phase, but has more experienced players. And listen, Lithuania has Sabonis and Valanciunas under the rim. I don't think any other team has two big men so skilled and so qualified to get you a win in this kind of games. So I think that might be a problem for Spain under the hoop. They have Willy Hernan Gomez, but I don't think he alone, he can match Valanciunas and Sabonis. And like I mentioned, Iggy Brzdakis is playing really, really good with Rokas Jokubaitis, and that team, you can really see the potential. I think what hurts the most is that Valanciunas and Sabonis, they really get in foul trouble. And like I said before, the foul limit in the FIBA games is 5 fouls, so they need to adjust and try to foul less really, really sooner into the game. And I think that's a problem for them as well. So in the other pair, we have Finland versus Croatia. And here, I'm also maybe not upset, but I'm disappointed by Croatia's play in this tournament. I think the roster shows that they have way more firepower than Finland. Finland plays only with Lauri Markkanen from the NBA, and the rest of the guys play in Europe. Some play in China even. So they don't have a great roster, but their offense is awesome. They play a kind of offense like the Golden State Warriors do. Markkanen, whenever he rebounds, he moves the ball up the court like Draymond, and the other guys, they run so fast. They have so much movement on the offensive end, and they make and take so many threes that if they have a great night, I think they might even advance, and play versus Greece from out of these 4 teams. If they're gonna, catch fire, how we say it. So this game is a throw up for me. I'm gonna, root for Croatia thanks to Hezonja and Zubac making my day on that national team game. But this is gonna be a hard game. I wouldn't bet money on it because it could be easily lost here. Going to the second side of the playoff bracket, we got Slovenia versus Belgium. And I think here, Luka and his magic is going to lead him literally to the finals on this side. The other pairing is Ukraine and Poland. I think this is a toss-up. Ukraine has Alex Len, but the big man, Alek Balcerowski from Poland, also plays really good in this tournament. So I'm surprised that he might maybe not stop him, but he was playing in the not in the summer leagues, just in the workouts. He declared for the draft. He's really young, so maybe that game is going to be also a really close game. But whoever wins this Ukraine and Poland game, when they meet Slovenia, it's going to be a walkthrough for Luka. I don't think they have anyone that can stop Luka. I don't think Luka can be stopped even by Giannis or whoever in this in this tournament. He's playing so great basketball, or only maybe an injury or something like that. Going further, we have Turkey versus France. And I think this game, since France advanced from the third seed, I still think they the favorites here. I think they're gonna win versus Turkey, which Turkey had at the point guard. They had Larkin, but he's injured, so he's not going to be playing in the bracket phase. They have Seti Osman, they got Furkan Korkmaz, they got Alperen Sengun, so they have 3 NBA players left. Great players. They really play good basketball, but their head coach is also a hothead. He got thrown out from the 5 group phase games. He got thrown out twice. So imagine his nerves. He's a hothead, and it's hard for him to stay on the bench literally, because he questions every ref's calls and stuff like that. So I think if he's going to be calmer, I think it might be a game, but I would still pick France. And the last pairing, it's Serbia versus Italy. And here I think Nikola Jokic, the current MVP of the NBA, is going to prevail and take a W versus Italy. Not only because it's Nikola Jokic. I think he has a great supporting cast there in Serbia, and it's too long to talk about those guys because most of them play in Europe. So you guys wouldn't recognize these names. But like I said, Vasilij Micic, great guy. Nikola Kalinic, that dude, I think he made like 60% of the threes, and he took like 20 couple of those threes. So he's on fire in this tournament. And going further, probably the best pairing for the second round is going to be France versus Serbia. That's going to be a really hard game because Jokic will face an NBA center, and in Gobert. I think the supporting cast might be on the French side because they're more well balanced around as a roster, as a team. But the Serbian team has personalities on there that could literally win you a game if they're hot. So listen, from the left side, I would say Greece is going to come out to play in the finals, and from the right side, I would say it's going to be Slovenia, probably, or Serbia. And I think that's going to be the finals of the Eurobasket 2022. And what more could I add? I really encourage you guys again to watch a couple of these games because they are awesome games. A little bit different basketball. It doesn't mean it's worse. It's more tactic based, less athleticism, but it's also more physical. I would say definitely more physical. That's why Luka said, in interviews that it's easier to score in the NBA than in Europe and in the FIBA games. Listen, guys, for following this. Oh, and just to add, the first games of the bracket starts tomorrow on Saturday. They play, I think, 4 games and maybe 4 games on Sunday, and then the next games are Tuesday and Wednesday, and then I think it's going to be Saturday and Sunday. So that's going to be, the tournament is going to finish, I think, on the 18th of September. Then the players are probably going to, hop on planes and get, adjusted to the time zone and stuff like that in the States, and go back to training camps, which are going to start probably like the last week of September. If you guys want to follow more of this Eurobasket content, just go straight up and follow them on Twitter at Eurobasket. They have highlights of every game, highlight plays. There were tons of highlight plays in these games. So I encourage you guys to follow that if you don't want to watch the whole games. But I also, think that for a basketball fan, a basketball junkie, a diehard basketball fan, watching these games is way better than watching workout videos of Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, and whoever you want to look. And I think that's going to be way more interesting as far as that goes. What else? Listen, guys, I'm gonna be doing more episodes since I'm back. I was away for like 2 weeks probably, so I'm back now. I'm gonna hop on and do more things that I planned, which is interviews with the NBK panelists, talking about maybe not fully about basketball, more about daily things, what they like, what they dislike, more things that you can know us as people, not only content creators. I'm also going to be starting to do these interviews with European Knicks fans. We're going to talk with them, how they watch the games from start to beginning, for how they got to be Knicks fans, and how their fandom is and stuff like that. So listen, follow NBK. I don't think we have anyone unsubscribed here to NBK, because I'm only hopping on Sim's cocktail and writing it out. So I'm again glad that Sim allows me to do this thing, and I hope I presented you at least a tiny bit of international basketball, European basketball, let's say that way, and that you guys gonna like it. I hope you're gonna watch a couple of games, and I really believe watching a game or two is gonna be really fun for you guys, and you're gonna follow more European basketball than most guys think. So I'm signing out. Salute for today. See you next time.